Oh guys, I didn't plan to do another SOFI video so soon, but we got a bombshell report about SOFI after I filmed that video yesterday, so I figured we would cover this news now because it's big and you need to know the truth about it. So let's talk about that today. Noto's interview, there's a lot going on right now around SOFI, so let's discuss all of it. Just make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth without the hype, and do that for all the creators that you love. So if you didn't hear, there was a short seller report issued yesterday by KBW, I believe, was the name of the people that put out the report there. Let's just say it was typical short seller madness. So let's get into the report, Noto's interview, and what this short seller report means for SOFI stock. And this is important right there, that we all understand that, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there, a lot of just kind of misnomers about it. And we need to clear all that up here today. So first, the short seller report, and it was basically based on delinquency charge-offs spiking big. So basically they had charge-offs going from 5% to 7% this quarter that's going to report here in just a couple of weeks. They had that happening based upon, well, reasons and a trend line that they drew that really didn't follow any sort of trend at all. Especially when you got into the weeds of what it actually meant, what the actual charge-off numbers are going to be and everything else. It was just basically a, hey, we think management's lying and they're actually going to have significant charge-offs this month and they're accelerating, not decelerating. So yeah, either management lied or something's really, really, really broken in the economy there. And guys, there isn't any factual basis for either one of those two things. The management team has done phenomenal and has communicated, unless you want to call sandbagging guidance lying, but they've not lied about something that's negative in their financials at any point in time. So why they would lie now about that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. There's no reason to believe this management team is lying about anything. That's kind of the first piece. And second thing is, in regards to the economy and something being significantly wrong, that's not true either. I'm not saying it's perfect or phenomenal or anything else like that, but there's no significant broken pieces to our economy at this stage. We don't have 8% unemployment. We aren't in the middle of a major recession or anything else like that. There just isn't anything there pointing towards either one of those two scenarios being remotely true at this stage. So when I looked at kind of the thesis behind the short report, there just wasn't a whole lot there beyond, well, reasons and a line on a chart. Pretty much all that they gave in the end. So let's talk about Noto's CNBC appearance next. So obviously he talked about how they position themselves for exactly the scenario the Fed is discussing happening right now. Not 5 rate cuts, not this crazy scenario that Wall Streeters and everybody else out there was planning for. Basically 1 or 2 rate cuts, kind of like what we've been talking happening later on in the year, just like we kind of been talking about on this channel for a long time. And more importantly, he discussed things like the consumer is strong. They are still seeing the consumer segment strong in all the areas that you want to see the consumer segment strong in, which of course flies right in the face of that particular report that the short sellers put out there. So it kind of comes down to, when you're thinking about that, who's lying? Would it be a short seller who has really no, who, whether we agree, disagree, whatever the case is, has no real consequence for putting out that short seller report? Or is it the guy who can actually go to jail for lying about performance in regards to their stock, especially on guidance and other things of that nature? To me, when I'm looking at that, looking at it objectively, I'm going to go with the person who has a lot more to lose, in that case, somebody who could go to jail for something that they said, versus somebody else who has absolutely no consequence for saying something and putting out the report the way that they put out that report. We can argue whether it's right, wrong, fair, or unfair, but these are all things you have to work through in regards to short sellers and understanding short sellers and understanding why they do what they do, and, kind of thinking, whether you think it's ethical or not. I'm not going to argue with you guys there, but unfortunately, when it comes down to investing, ethics are not always a piece that matters there, especially when we're talking about legal or legality, legal issues like that. So yes, short sellers can report basically lies, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Just like bulls do the same exact thing, putting out these ridiculous bull cases based upon, who knows what, smoke mirrors, spreadsheets, and, pretty lines on a chart as well. Goes both ways there. Neither one of those are illegal. But going and lying on an earnings call is illegal, and that's essentially what would happen if Noto was to have this happen without any other sort of catalyst around it, creating a scenario to where it went different than what he said in the prior earnings. And if you want to work directly through earnings calls with me, the biggest discount for my group has been extended, where you get that. You get my complete watch list with price targets, all my buy and sell alerts. You get free coaching. You get access to the best 6, 7, and 8 figure Discord out there. Guys, there's so much involved. We'll talk about more of it at the end. Just check out the pinned comment down there. Make sure you take advantage of the sale for one of the biggest discounts ever for my group before it goes away this weekend. All right, so I know we've discussed this before, but I still see comments all the time and there's just so many misconceptions around it. So let's talk about it again. There is basically 4 core reasons why I don't care about short seller reports. I don't care about short sellers at all. I put absolutely no thought into them whatsoever for these 4 reasons. And the first one, short sellers have zero influence on performance. They have no influence over SOFI's performance whatsoever. I mean, you tell me how a short seller influences revenue coming into the company. I mean, tell me how short seller, basically creates or dictates how efficient management is with the capital that they have and how they run the business. How does that affect profitability? I don't think short sellers have anything to do with profitability or their customer base or their product offerings, or the offerings that they have in the pipeline, or anything else of that nature. I mean, if SOFI comes out with a game-changing product that everybody has to have, what the heck do short sellers have to do with that at all? How do they influence that at all? The answer is they can't. They have absolutely zero input into the performance of SOFI itself, or any other company for that example. They have zero influence. Number 2, short sellers have never bankrupted a company. There has never been a profitable company that has gone bankrupt because of short sellers. It has never happened in the history of the stock market. A company with $160 billion worth of cash on the balance sheet is not magically going to go bankrupt because short sellers are keeping the price down. It's just not how financials actually work. Now, having said that, they can absolutely accelerate a company that's on a path to bankruptcy, and they can make it faster. But they absolutely cannot create a scenario to where a profitable company that's running great is somehow magically going to go bankrupt because short sellers are shorting the stock. A company that was going bankrupt regardless, yeah, and they're burning cash and everything else, yeah, absolutely. They can accelerate that process down because they're basically taking away their ability to raise capital through share offerings and a lot of other things of that nature that create that scenario to where they just have no ability to get any more cash. And obviously folks don't want to invest cash in that business as well. But a trash company is going to go bankrupt regardless. It's just accelerating the process. It doesn't matter. It's not going to stop that trajectory of a bad company. The only thing that shorts can really do to a profitable company is maybe delay or take away the lever of being able to raise capital through a share offering or something like that, making it more advantageous to issue bonds, for example, or take on debt or some other way to raise capital. That's all that they can do. They cannot bankrupt a company that's doing well and profitable by being short that company. They just can't do it. Number 3, short sellers have never held a performing company down forever. Again, it is something that has never happened in the history of a stock market. A company that has performed, earnings in and earnings out, continue to get more profitable, continue to crush it, has never been held down forever by Wall Street, has never been held down by the big banks ever because they don't want competition. So therefore, they're going to short the stock and just never allow it to go anywhere. It has never happened. At some point in time, all stocks go back to fair value in regards to their valuation, especially performing companies like that. And it will happen at some point in time, regardless of what the short sellers do, because what happens is big money comes in and absolutely destroys them. And that's where you end up with these crazy squeezes in these stocks and all these other things of that nature. That is what happens with a performing company. Short sellers have never held a performing company down forever. It has never happened and it will never happen. And as a matter of fact, the exact opposite happens the longer that they hold it down. You get an even bigger, stronger run faster, which of course just meant you got more time to accumulate that stock. Which leads me perfectly into number 4, which is short sellers make me more money in the end. Reason for that is very simple, guys. I get a longer period of time to add shares at a cheaper price than I should be able to add. Think about, and forget about SOFI here for a second. Think about NVIDIA's run. There were times during this past run where it was significantly shorted. Short interest went up remarkably fast as it started on its incredible run. And guess what? Every single time, sure, it took a little bit of a toll there in the short term. Those were just opportunities to add. And think about the people who are up huge, I mean massively, on NVIDIA position if they added on every single one of those dips as it's gone up over this epic run over the past year plus. Bottom line is you get shares cheaper than you should have, and you get a longer time to build out an even larger position in a company. And when it finally takes off, you make a lot more money over the long run. And that is the perfect setup as a long-term buy and hold investor. So when I see things like short interest is high and the company is performing underneath, I know it's just a matter of time before this switch flips, number 1. And number two, I'm going to get an opportunity to make a lot more money than I would have if the short sellers wouldn't have gone after the stock in the first place. So for me, this just screams opportunity all the way around, and I'm happy to take advantage. And if you want to see all my SOFI buys in real time, get my complete watch list with price targets, which includes SOFI. You want to take 5 courses for free, use our stock analyzer tool for free, get your free coachings, be a part of the best 6, 7, and 8-figure Discord out there, be a part of our $250 portfolio challenge where you not only see mine, you see all of our master investors as well. You see all their portfolios, which by the way, they're crushing me right now. So they're actually doing a lot better than I am. Make sure you check out the pinned comment down there and see if a membership's right for you. Again, the sale ends this weekend here. I extended it for a week for some of you guys that asked for it. So make sure you take advantage before that sale expires and the price goes back up. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.